Do you have the date that she was interviewed?
I was.
No, I'm not, I'm asking.
Yeah.
Counsel. When was she interviewed by?
I think it was 2018.
Okay. Then, again.
That would be after.
Would counsel approach, please?
Sidebar conference conducted.
I'm sorry, I don't know how to make myself any clearer to you that you've made specific allegations in your pleading that you are held to. Calling witnesses up here that have been interviewed well past that date is not well-founded and it's improper.
I respectfully disagree with you, Judge. I think we plead and then we prove our pleadings through other evidence. The state, in its charging information, didn't include very single piece of information.
That's not what we're here to talk about, Mr. Baldwin. We're here to talk about your motion to dismiss for destroying exculpatory evidence where you claim that a document dated February 17th of 2017, of Mr. Holder, and February 19th of Mr. Westfall was destroyed. That's the very narrow focus of what it is that we're here for.
Yeah.
And if you don't have witnesses that are going to testify to these things, you're wasting everybody's time.
As Mr. McClellan argued in his response, Judge, that they had to, we have to prove that the state of Indiana or the law enforcement knew back in 2017 that there was material or exculpatory evidence.
Affirmative response.
Or helpful evidence, and also that there was bad faith.
Affirmative response.
And at the end of the road here, there's an argument to be made that back in 2017, based upon everything that you have heard, that the police, and that the police knew that there was exculpatory evidence on there and that.
And where is that evidence? That's what I keep asking you, where is that specific evidence? Because she wasn't interviewed until 2018, so how did the police know that in 2017, when you claim they destroyed it?
Police are not ever going to say, I destroyed exculpatory evidence. It is not going to happen. What is going to happen is other evidence comes out, like what's contained in the Franks memo, that shows that there is an ongoing hiding of evidence, not refusing to investigate, things like that, and this is what we're trying to do. I can't, if you expect that there's gonna be a police officer that they're gonna call or that I'm gonna call that's gonna say, I erased exculpatory evidence. That is never gonna happen anywhere in the world.
Judge, he has to show that it's exculpatory evidence based on what was known on that date or in that time frame before we have to show that it was not the result of bad faith. And if he shows it's exculpatory, bad faith doesn't even matter. If he can't show exculpatory and or in the potentially useful category that we get to show that it was not as a result of bad faith. So his first burden is to show that it is materially exculpatory, the video that's missing. That's his burden.
It's an impossible burden, Judge, because it is missing.
That is unfortunate, but...
Then concede and shift to potentially useful.
That's what the case law says, Mr. Baldwin.
Well.
I can't change the case law.
Well, this is how we prove it is by showing other evidences of police behavior, bad behavior, not, and then you can surmise as a judge. Well, if all this happened then it could have happened back then.
I'm sorry, that's not what the case law indicates.
No, that is not what the CASE law says, sir. And if that's all you have, then we're done.
Then I will offer to prove.
No, then we're done, if that's all you have.
I'm going to offer to prove, Judge, an offer of proof, and then we will be done.
We are done, sir.
For the record, they have a right to offer to prove so that the Court of Appeals can understand, what we're doing, and we will have no record unless I offer to prove, Judge. The Court. Well, you can sum up your offer to prove, Mr. Baldwin. But again, if all of the evidence that you have is after the dates that you allege, then your offer to prove is. If Amber, thank you, Judge.
Sidebar conference concluded.
If Amber Holder were allowed to testify, she would tell you that police, including Jerry Holman and the other people that were deposed by the defense counsel in August of 2023, have never talked to Amber Holder since August of 2023. She will LD testify that Brad Holder talked about the Delphi case. That Brad Holder told her that he and Patrick Westfall had a falling out over a ritual in the woods near a river because Patrick Westfall wanted to up the ante from animal sacrifices. If Amber Holder were allowed to testify, she would tell you that Patrick Westfall, according to Brad Holder, committed these crimes. He is protected by powerful people. She would also testify that she saw on Brad Holder's phone girls that he knew that he posed on the ground with sticks, and that she knows are runes from her own heathenism belief system, that were runes on these girls in the form of sticks, and that he had them on his phone and there were multiple photos on his phone. And finally, that she would also testify that Brad Holder knew Abby Williams much better than he told the police. He told her that he met her several times. That is the end of my offer of proof in this witness. Thank you.
Do you have any questions for her?
I have no questions for this witness.
You may step down, ma'am.
We have no other evidence, Judge. The defense rests.
All right. Ms. Diener.
Oh, I'm sorry, Judge, I wanted to, I apologize. I wanted to ask for the court to take judicial notice of the Frank's memo as it relates to this request to dismiss charges that included Jerry Holman's deposition. I would also ask for the court to take judicial notice. Well, I was going to move to admit. Well, I think the Frank's memo, taking judicial notice of that will be sufficient for what I need to do and argue. Thank you.
When did you file the Frank's motion?
September 18th, 2023.
All right. I will take judicial notice of that specific Frank's motion filed September 18th, 2023.
And the exhibits contained in it, Judge, as also part of that. Oh, and the supplemental Frank's, the second Frank's motion, as well, we'd ask for and its exhibits, as well. That was filed, I believe, October the 3 RD, 2023.
So you don't wish me to take judicial notice of the supplemental motion for Frank's hearing that you filed October 2nd?
I do. I must have. I thought it was October the 3rd. It was October the 2nd.
Well, there was one filed October 2nd ND, and then there was one filed October 3rd.
And then, there was one more recent, and I'll just throw that in, as well, for you to take judicial notice of the one filed a week or two ago. I don't remember the date, for purposes of this argument.
And when did you file that one?
I don't have that at the tip of my tongue here, Judge. It was a week, probably 2 weeks ago.
I don't see one filed 2 or 3 weeks ago.
Give me a second. I just don't have it, but I know it was filed.
Well, I can't take judicial notice of something you can't tell me about. March 13th.
March 13th.
Well, I'll take judicial notice of the Frank's motions filed September 18th, October 2nd, October 3rd of 2023, and March 13th of 2024.
Judge, does that include all the exhibits? Which I'm asking for judicial notice of all the exhibits, as well.
I don't see exhibits attached to this last one.
Yeah, there. I don't think there were on that one.
And I don't see exhibits from the ON-ES in October, either.
Then, just the first one.
Ms. Diener, you may proceed.
Thank you. The state would call Steve Mullen.
Witness sworn.
Officer Mullen, you've already been on the stand today, but I'm going to have you repeat some of that information, since this is a separate hearing for a separate purpose, okay?
Yes.
Please state your full name, spell your first and last name, and tell us where you're employed.
Stephen L. Mullin, Stephennullin. I am an investigator with the Carroll County Prosecutor's Office.
And when did you begin as prosecutor's investigator?
In January of 2020.
The investigation for Abby and Libby was well underway by that time, was it not?
Yes, it was.
What was your position in 2017 when the murders occurred?
I was chief of police in Delphi.
And I believe we covered this as well, but how many total years do you have in law enforcement?
42.
I believe you indicated you had been with the Delphi PD, then with the Carroll County Sheriff's Department as a detective, then back with the city as chief, and now with the prosecutor's office. Is that correct?
That is correct.
And what is your role in the prosecutor's office with regard to the state versus Richard Allen?
I handle and manage the evidence, most of the evidence, in the Richard Allen case and process it and make sure the defense has it in discovery.
So you're cataloging IT and keeping track of what's passed along to defense. Is that correct?
I am, yes.
Cell phone rings.
I'm sorry, Ms. Diener. Whose phone is going off?
It almost sounds like it's in the next room.
I apologize, Your Honor. Inaudible. Oh, it is ringing.
Judge, there's a phone right here, too. I don't know what that is.
It was turned off, but now it's on.
Is this yours also, Mr. Baldwin?
Yeah. Oh, I can grab that later. I'm sorry, I don't want to interrupt your...
Are you familiar with the Brad Holder interview in 2017?
I am.
Is there only one?
That's correct.
May I approach, Judge?
You may.
Mr. Mullen, I'd like to show you what is marked as State's Exhibit 1. Do you recognize that document?
Yes, I do.
Okay. And how would you describe it?
This is what's called an Orion document. In other words, it's a narrative of a report which Special Agent Adam Pohl created after his interview with Brad Holder, and that narrative was placed into the Orion, FBI Orion RMS report system.
That is part of discovery, is that correct?
Yes, it is.
And that interview was on what date?
It was done, according to the report, on the 17th of February of 2017.
And is Agent Pohl with what agency?
Agent Pohl is a special agent with the FBI.
And he was assisting at that time.
Yes.
With this investigation?
Yes, that's correct.
State would move to admit Exhibit 1. State's Exhibit 1 offered.
No objection.
All right. Without objection, 1 is admitted. State's Exhibit 1 admitted.
You indicated that report is part of Orion and would be contained in discovery. With regard to preparation for today's hearing, are there other places that you know that particular narrative to be located within discovery?
Yes. That narrative would also be in the FBI general reports that were furnished to us in discovery.
And did you prepare records? Oh, Judge, may I go back to Exhibit 1? We would ask that that be admitted under seal, because it is discovery that has a protective order and it contains discovery information. I think that would be appropriate, E. It's the report.
No objection.
Of Brad Holder.
All right. I'll show it's sealed, then.
So, I'm sorry, you compared documents with regard to discovery on each disclosure or each disbursement to defense. Is that correct?
Yes.
I'd like to show you what's marked as State's Exhibit 2. Just check all the pages. Make sure you recognize the entire document. Do you recognize that 19-page document?
Yes.
And how would you describe the contents of that exhibit?
This is an example of the itemized list of discovery which was given to the defense, and they were signed the document as having reviewed the items listed in each page.
So you use this to keep track of what you've given them and on what date it was provided, is that correct?
Yes, it is.
Judge, may I leave a copy with him in order to?
Sure.
State would move to admit Exhibit 2 under seal.
No objection.
All right. Without objection, 2 is admitted and sealed. State's Exhibit 2 admitted.
Now, can you point to that document and provide to us information about when this narrative report of Special Agent Pohl from the February 17, 2017 interview of Brad Holder would have been provided?
That report should have been provided in the disbursement titled 04 Allen, dated as received by an agent from Mr. Rozzi's office on February 13, 2023.
And when you look at the discovery disclosure, that's number 04, by looking at that, would a person unfamiliar with the evidence drives or how they're named know that this report is contained within that discovery disclosure?
The disclosure says that there was a 3.5-inch SATA internal hard drive containing the files 0 for Alan with several files and also a box containing hard drives. This also contained the FBI documents then. And we also maintained a copy of whatever was given to the defense and a quantification of the data that was given to them on site in a particular file that goes along with this document.
And so the report that you identified in Exhibit 1 you identified as an Orion report, and you believe it to be contained in disclosure number 4?
04.
04, yes.
Yes.
And that was on February 13th of 23?
That's correct.
And then, in preparation for today, did you also print out screenshots that?
I did.
Here states Exhibit number 3. Can you identify that? It is 3 pages.
I can.
And can you describe it for the court?
This is a screenshot taken from the computer screen which displayed the files which were contained in this February 13th th of 2023 dispersal of evidence. It shows the FBI files, Indiana State Police files, some search warrants, the 0 for discovery receipt actually, and then 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 Excel documents which quantify the data contained on the hard drives.
And then, on the subsequent pages, what does that provide for reference?
Thank you. The subsequent page, the next page, shows the Indiana State Police report, which, at this time, was redacted, and it shows 3 separate files. They received 3 separate files because the report, in their system, was too large for one particular case report. The next page shows the file which had the FBI general reports in it. And then, the next is an Orion, the download of the Orion file, dated the 12th of February, 2022.
Now, the interview by Agent Pohl of Brad Holder was subsequently discovered that the audio/video recording was no longer available. Is that correct?
That is correct.
Can you describe the circumstances and how you learned that it was no longer available?
Where would you like me to begin?
Start with a description of where the interview recording was kept.
At the beginning of the investigation, we started out at the Delphi Police Department, and at that time, as chief, I had just installed a new interview system. It was a DVR, which we had put in because we didn't have anything sufficient in the county to be able to record interviews within the city of Delphi. So as we used the facility at the Delphi Police Department for the investigation process, it became natural for everyone to use the interview room at the City Police Department, which was located downstairs inside the police department. And as interviews were conducted, officer would go into the interview room, flip on the switch on the outside, illuminate a blue light to indicate the recording was operating. And when they concluded, they would shut the interview room, the recording off by turning the switch off. The DVR was located inside the squad room at the police department and it was sitting on top of a filing cabinet. At that time, I was, more or less, obtaining the video off of the DVR for the officers at their request, so they could attach it to their reports.
And you were not part of the lead agencies for this investigation, is that correct?
As chief of police, I was not part of the investigation, but I had become part of the unified command somehow.
Because of your position as chief of police in Delphi?
Yes.
And so the lead agencies would be whom, if you know?
Indiana State Police, Carroll County Sheriff's Department, and obviously, the FBI.
Okay. And so tell us about the discovery of loss of video that includes the Brad Holder 20, February 17, 2017 interview.
Around August of 2017, I went into the police department to recover a video off of the DVR, which I believe was unrelated to this particular case, and noted that the DVR was recording continuously. That meant that any video that was on the DVR prior to the date where it recorded up to was gone. It was no longer there, no longer recoverable. I, through my investigation, found that the last date of the interview was either the 19th or the 20th of February of 2017. So, unfortunately, all of the interviews that had been conducted during that period of time and after the homicide was discovered up to that date were gone. Immediately when I discovered that the recorder was recording continuously, I unplugged it and contacted the vendor, and we determined that the videos were gone, and that somehow the settings had been changed in the DVR to only record when the switch was activated to record continuously, and we have no idea how it could have happened.
And have you consulted with the vendor about that particular issue to discern whether it was from a person versus just a spontaneous event like electricity going out or unplugging the equipment?
I have. I've talked to the vendor and he has told me that on many occasions with the DVR's YCH he uses or sells that a power surge or unplugging the DVR could change the settings in the DVR so that it would record continuously.
So the murder of the girls is February 13th of 2017, or that's when they're reported missing, correct?
Yes.
And the investigation began as soon as the bodies were found. Would that be fair to say?
Yes.
And then your discovery would indicate that interviews conducted in that interview room with that DVR were missing from 2014 until February 20th but not including February 20th?
I think there was some still available to be seen on the 20th.
Okay, there might be some missing, but some are there for the 20th?
Yes. And I should also add that some of the audio was missing even for the times where there was actually video visible, so there may be video that's visible, but the audio randomly sometimes is not available to be heard.
Okay. And did you or anyone that you know of intentionally leave the recording on so that it would delete interviews?
Absolutely not.
Do you consider this to be either human error or just a spontaneous event with the DVR recording?
That's the only explanation I can provide.
Now, during that time period, there was also a follow-up interview with Brad regarding Brad Holder. Is that correct? Follow-up interviews to finish the lead or tip investigation. Is that right?
Can you be more specific in your question, please?
Sure. When Brad Holder was initially interviewed, what was going on with the investigation during the first few days where officers would be, like Special Agent Pohl, would be sent to make contact with someone? Can you describe for us what was going on?
My recollection of the process was, as each day would happen, we would start with a meeting at the beginning of the day and tips and leads would be assigned to officers to follow up on or, throughout the day, as officers became available, they would follow up on tips and leads as they had time to do so. If people walked into the city building, as a way to provide information to officers in the investigation, someone on station would take that interview and talk to the person who was providing the information. If someone came to the Carroll County Sheriff's Department, they would either be instructed to come to the police department so they could talk with them there or, a clear's throat, a phone number or contact information would be forwarded to someone in the command structure so that could be followed up on as soon as possible.
And were instructions given in the morning of these daily meetings about use of the DVR if someone wished to use it?
Yes. They were instructed as to how to turn the recorder on and to be sure to turn it off afterwards.
And when you discovered that it had been continuously running, did you look to see if someone had left the switch on, which would cause it to then continuously run?
Thank you. I did, but I knew it wasn't on, because the switch was located in a very conspicuous location in the hallway at the police department. If I were to walk in the police department through the door from the outside, I would immediately see the blue light on the interview room switch and I would realize somebody left it on and so it would be turned off. On that day, there was no light on.
Okay. And the actual hard drive in this DVR, how much data could it?
I believe it was, I think it was 6 terabytes. My report reflects the size.
It's quite a lot.
A lot.
Okay. So my question to you is, during this time period between when let's go back to the way that leads were conveyed. So you have these meetings each day, officers come, you have this contact with them to give them instructions. Would it be fair to say that you have different officers pretty much every day, depending on who's available?
It was quite fair to say there was different officers every day. There were officers who worked within the department who were coming every day, but there were also officers that came outside of the Carroll County Sheriff's Department, Indiana State Police. There were officers from West Lafayette, Tippecanoe County Sheriff's Department, others.
In fact, Special Agent Adam Pohl and Hammond Police Sergeant Christopher Goatee, who appear on these reports, or is it Goatee?
Right.
Are not local officers?
No, they are not local to our area.
And so in what capacity were they at these meetings or assisting?
Special Agent Pohl and Christopher Goatee were there to assist us in the process of following up on tips, and they, like the others, would be there at the beginning of the day and receive instructions or, throughout the day, receive new instructions on who to go interview and to follow up on.
Can you give us a brief description of what a person in their capacity would be asked to do when following up on a lead or tip in order to be useful to the investigation?
They would seek out the information from either the person they were needed to talk with and then interview them concerning the information that was either provided about them or from them.
And then, if that person would there be anything about the person that might cause the officer to need to do more than just take an initial interview? For example, find out where they were on the day of February 13th or February 14th.
Yes. All the officers were asked to follow up on that completely or as much as possible to determine where they were at on February 13th around the time we believe the homicides were to have occurred.
Okay, so that brings me back to Brad Holder. Before the video was lost or discovered lost in August of 2017, and after Special Agent Pohl did his interview on February 17th of 2017, was there additional follow-up with regard to Bradley Holder that you know exists because of your intimate knowledge of discovery and taking care of reports with regard to this case?
Yes, there is.
And do you recall what it is?
I'm sorry?
Do you recall what it is?
Yes.
I'm going to show you what's marked as State's Exhibit 4. I apologize. Can you identify that? There we go. Okay, sorry. Can you identify that?
I can.
Okay. Can you describe that for us?
This is the report which was compiled by Special Agent Rich Davies of the FBI. It details follow-up which was done and relayed to him by Grid Officer, which is a task force officer assigned to the FBI, Fred Rogers, where he followed up on Brad Holder's work history on the date of February the 13th, 2017.
Okay. And so that would be a lead follow-up, correct?
Yes.
And did the content of that provide information as to Brad Holder's whereabouts during that particular day when the murders were believed to have occurred?
Yes, it did.
Okay. And so with regard to leads being assigned to officers, would this lead to a particular event with regard to lead follow-up with Unified Command? Does it put it in a particular category? Is it considered completed for the time being?
Yes.
Okay.
It completed the investigation concerning Mr. Holder.
Unless something new became available?
Correct.
Okay. During the time period between when the first interview was taken and recorded and the date that you were made aware that that first recording is missing, are these the only interviews of Mr. Holder that occurred?
Yes.
And the second interview or the second report really isn't an interview of?
That's correct.
Okay. So at the time that the video was lost, destroyed, whatever terminology one might want to use, was Brad Holder a key suspect in this case?
No.
The state would move for the admission of Exhibit 4 under seal. State's Exhibit 4 offered.
Any objection?
No. I hadn't. Have you given it to me?
All right. I'll show 4 is admitted without objection and sealed. State's Exhibit 4 admitted.
Yeah, no objection, Judge. I'm sorry.
Judge, did I admit Exhibit 3 that was the 3 pages of screenshots?
You did not offer it, no.
The state would move to admit Exhibit 3 with regard to the screenshots. It's a 3-page document. State's Exhibit 3 offered.
No objection.
All right. I'll show 3 is admitted without objection. State's Exhibit 3 admitted.
In fact, during the first 7 days of the investigation, from February 13th until February 20th the period of time where the audio/video recordings are?
To my knowledge, no.
Do you have knowledge that Patrick Westphal was interviewed?
Yes, I do.
In February of 2017?
Yes, I do.
I'm going to show you State's Exhibit 5. It has 2 pages. Can you identify that?
I can.
And what does that document contain?
This is a report that would have been found in the FBI general reports given to the defense in discovery, detailing an interview which took place on Sunday, February 19, 2017, conducted by Special Agent Adam Pohl and Grid Officer Goatee with the Hammond Police Department, where they did an interview at Patrick Westphal's residence of Patrick Westphal.
And is that particular document also contained within discovery, as previously testified to?
Yes.
In the same location as documents with regard to Brad Holder?
Yes.
In FBI?
In the FBI general reports.
And in Orion?
And it is, I believe it's in Orion, yes.
State would move to admit Exhibit 5.
No objection.
Show 5 admitted without objection. State's Exhibit 5 admitted.
There have been some questions raised about whether a video of Patrick Westphal exists or has been destroyed by the state. Do you have knowledge about that?
One never existed.
And what do you rely on for that information?
They went to Patrick Westphal's residence. 1. It was uncommon for the FBI to record their interviews. 2. We talked with Special Agent Pohl, who told us he did not record the interview by any means and only memorialized it in his report.
And just to reiterate, even though you've already answered this in a general sense, was Patrick Westphal a key suspect in 2017?
No.
Did you make attempts to retrieve or somehow recreate lost video from the continuous play of the DVR?
First of all, I contacted the vendor and we discussed options for recovery, and then I presented the DVR the DVR DVD to the Indiana State Police to see if they could recover the video. It was never recovered.
It was never recovered?
Correct.
In the discovery disclosures, did you share with defense that the DVR for the time period of February 14th until the 20th had missing files, and if so, in?
From my memory, I believe that I informed the agent from Mr. Rozzi's office that there were problems with some of the video and that they could try to recover whatever video they could, but they had, in essence, the same thing that we did. I did not document that in any way at the time of the release at that stage, before they withdrew themselves from the case.
Okay. So on the discovery disclosure or transfer to defense that WE referred to as the 04, based on the number that's on the top, it's from February 13th of 2023, that contained these interviews in written form. But is that the same day or time when you would have transferred any audio recordings, or is it possibly on another day?
I'm sorry, Ms. Dina, can you rephrase the question?
Yeah. The 04 disclosure that you talked about that contained these written reports from FBI and ORIN from February of 2017, if there was video recordings that were also given, would they have been at that same time or some other disclosure?
I'm sorry, I can't remember exactly when I gave them what I gave them at this point. I'd have to look at my records to be able to refresh my memory. I'm sorry.
That's okay. It's a lot of information. And at some point, the defense specifically asked for video of Brad Holder. Is that correct?
Yes.
And was a detailed response provided through a discovery disclosure?
Yes.
And indicated to them that there were lost recordings?
Yes.
And his was one of them?
Yes.
Was Brad Holder's the only recording that was lost?
Heavens, no.
Okay. And the recordings weren't just for this investigation, were they?
There were other investigations that were probably conducted during that period of time in that same interview room that were destroyed, as well.
And do you have any way of recreating a list of all of the interviews that happened during that time frame?
I do not.
And if officers did what was expected, which is write a narrative for the interview that was recorded, then where would that information be contained?
It would be contained within the reports and narratives that the officer memorialized their interviews and either the state police reports, the FBI reports, or perhaps, in the Orion RMS system.
Or even other agencies.
Or,
Beyond those, correct?
yes, other agencies, and that's true, there were other agencies that did memorialize reports that we have turned over.
But the court gave us a deadline of November 1st SD of 2023 to provide discovery, and did you do everything you could to provide everything to them that we had?
Yes.
In fact, what has been your directive from Prosecutor Mac Leland with regard to discovery and whether there should be decisions made about what we share and what we don't share?
To share everything that we have with them, even to a fault.
Which means every tip that came in through the FBI tip line they've been provided.
Absolutely.
If we have a record of it, they have it?
Yes.
In the beginning, or when did you start your discovery transfers to the defense?
I believe December the 7th, 2022.
And that would have been shortly after their appointment, would it not?
Yes.
And has it been ongoing since then, as reflected in your documents that you prepared that are in Exhibit 2?
Yes.
Now, there's some discovery that continues to be given to them, is that correct?
Yes.
Even though the deadline has passed?
Yes.
And some of that information is information you could not have had before November 1st of 2023. Would that be fair to say?
I'm sorry, I couldn't hear all the question.
That's okay. Some of the information you're giving them, you could not have given to them before November 1st, 2023, because it didn't exist. Is that fair to say?
Yes.
For example, what would something like that be?
Recently, we recovered some interviews the state police had located on one of their devices that had been recovered because of an inquiry about an interview that had taken place, and that was furnished to us a few weeks ago, and we turned it over to the defense as soon as we got it in our hands.
And those interviews had actually been requested to be downloaded and attached to the state police records, was it not?
Yes, and there was a report accompanying that evidence that was turned over to the defense.
And specifically the officer who located that for you and did a supplement report.
Yes, he did.
Can you provide his name?
Yes. Oh, his name is Matthew J. Harper.
Thank you. And then, are you also providing information that comes in from the DOC?
Yes.
And so that would be discovery that was not available before November 1st?
Yes.
And just to be clear, before the protective order for discovery existed, were there challenges to discovery and the transfer that were then alleviated by the
monstrous problems?
And what were those problems?
The redaction of the data to remove criminal record information, social security numbers, phone numbers, anything that might identify persons or personal information which we had talked with or interviewed or followed up on in that 6 or 7 year period of time.
And so once that protective order for discovery was granted, you then felt comfortable duplicating discovery and providing it to the defense without redaction. Is that correct?
Yes, because we had the assurance that that information would not get out to the general public.
I'd pass the witness.
Mr. Baldwin.
So let me get this straight. You knew, in August of 2017, that Brad Holder's video was missing. It had been taped over, right? Well, I'll strike that. You knew, in August of 2017, that from February, what was it? The 14th up until February 20th of 2017, that those no longer existed, those videos, right?
Yes, that's correct.
But then, when you provided the defense with discovery in, let's say I think it was, the first time was in December, you didn't say, "Hey, by the way, I need to tell you this, there's some missing video of people that were interviewed."
I didn't tell you and I didn't tell Mr. Rozzi that, but I believe I mentioned it to you or his agent. It's from memory, my memory, I didn't write it down, I didn't document it.
But it's not, okay. Well, did you tell Mr. McClellan that there was missing?
Oh, yes, he knew.
You did? Okay. So this is part of the packet that you just introduced into evidence. This is from August 22nd, that you just introduced that into evidence. I don't know which number it is.
Okay.
So in August of 22nd, we got, you're involved in these letters that go to Mr. McClelland or come from him. I want you to look at the very bottom that I've highlighted, and that's one of the exhibits that's been introduced. I don't remember which particular exhibit it was.
Number 2.
Exhibit 2, page 11, Exhibit 2.
Page 11, Exhibit 2, yes.
Read the bottom of that just to yourself where I highlighted, just for ease. I'm going to ask you a question about that.
Yes.
May I have that?
Sure.
So in August of 2023, here's what you said about Brad Holder's video that we requested. You had previously received ISP reports that document those.
Correct.
What you didn't say was, that's because they were taped over. Did you? You didn't tell us that, did you?
I didn't include that information, no.
We did not learn about that this tape-over business happened, until February of 2024. Isn't that right?
Yes.
Then we asked for any reports that detail the lost recordings, and we just got that in evidence in the last couple weeks, right?
Correct.
I'm gonna hand you what's gonna be marked as Defendant's Exhibit E and ask you to identify that for me.
Thank you.
Tell me if you know about that.
Yes.
That is a document, a report that we requested about. Hey, tell us about what? How did you memorialize the lost videotaped interviews? Right. And that's what you gave us, Exhibit C?
Yes. Or.
It doesn't.
It's E.
It's not dated though, is it?
It's E.
E, thank you.
Sorry.
This document that we just got in the last couple weeks, it's not dated, is it? There's no date on it.
There is no date on it.
Did you just produce this?
No.
You wrote this out way back in 2017?
Yes.
And we've just gotten it in 2024?
Yes.
After we had to request it, right?
Yes.
And that wasn't the only thing we got. I'm gonna hand you what's gonna be marked as Exhibit F. Because we wanted all reports about anything missing.
Sure.
Review that document, and then, this was provided to us in the last couple weeks. Tell me when you're ready to talk about it.
Go ahead.
This says that. Drive to containing the data of recordings made. This is in the third paragraph. Made by the DVR includes interviews in room 1, 2, and 3. And 4 were missing from April the 28th, 2017, to June 30th, 2017, right? That's what that says. There's missing video for almost 2 months, right?
I'm not certain that was the final conclusion. I drafted this report.
And
I explained in the report how that occurred.
You do, but the crux of it is from April 28th. 2017, to June 30th, 2017, there ain't no videos of any interviews, right?
I'd have to go back and review now to make sure, but I believe here may be interviews, but they may not have sound.
And this was the first time this document, Exhibit F I think it is, was given to my partner, co-counsel and I, was within the last couple weeks and we had to ask for it, right?
Yes.
But we did get a narrative report of Brad Holder, right?
Yes.
About 6 paragraphs for Brad Holder, that's what his interview with police or law enforcement kind of came down to, just a number of paragraphs, right?
Yes.
How long was this interview?
I don't know.
What did he say in this interview, do you know?
I don't know.
What happened to when you discovered, in August of 2017, that His videotaped interview had been taped over. What did he say when you followed up in September of 2017? To follow up to make sure that at least that's.
I'm just not sure if I understand your question.
Did you interview back Brad Holder in August of 2017, after you found out that his video was missing, just to give a good accounting of what he said, just another interview?
I didn't.
That'd been a good idea, don't you think?
Objection. It wasn't his place to decide.
Sustained.
So I want to go through those two time frames. We've got February, what? 14th through the 20th, 2017. There's not a single log, is there, of who went in and was interviewed, right?
Not that I'm aware of.
The early stages of an investigation. You did an investigation, at some point?
I talked to people and investigated leads.
Would you agree with me that, early on in an investigation, that can be some of the most important time frame to receive information?
Yes.
You didn't go back and re-interview any of those people from the first few days, did you? Not just Brad Holder, but anybody whose video interview W as lost?
I did not.
And nor did you try to recreate a log of, "Hey, I want to send a memo out."
I didn't.
Did law enforcement?
No.
No. Brad Holder was only interviewed in 2023 as a follow-up because of our depositions that were focusing on him. Would you agree?
Possibly.
There's no other reason you would have gone and interviewed Brad Holder then, right?
I did not interview Brad Holder.
You know he was interviewed?
Yes, I've heard he was interviewed and there's a report about it.
I mean, if you could get the recordings back, you would want them back, would you agree?
Absolutely.
The second video time frame that we're talking about, April 28th through June 30th, there was an opportunity to unearth those lost videos with some type of Chinese equipment.
Software.
Software, right?
Affirmative response.
Did you get the software?
I turned it over to the state police for them to follow up with.
Do you know whether they followed up with the Chinese software to unearth these?
I know that we were able to view the videos, but some do not have audio, so it may have been successful, but limited success.
Okay. So did all the videos get recovered then with this Chinese software?
I can't say whether all of them were recovered. We tried to see as many as possible.
Did you follow up, once the Chinese software came into place and something seems, according to you, to have been recovered, did you do a report on that and say, "Well, here's what's been recovered and here's, I think here's what that is and here's what we don't have recovered"? Why you do anything like that? Because I don't see any report about the Chinese software working. Is there such a report somewhere that the Chinese software worked?
I don't have it.
Okay. You did these other reports.
Affirmative response.
Undated, right? You should have put the date on there.
Thank you.
Yeah. Can we agree on that?
I'll do better.
Yeah. There were lots of tips. I mean, you're an investigator for the prosecutor's office. Early on, there were lots of tips about Brad Holder, right? There was a few. More than a few. More than a few, would you agree?
A few.
And some. And so what I understood on direct examination is that when people came in about a tip, then they were told, some of them, at least, to go to the Delphi Police Department and get interviewed on video. Is that right?
Yes.
So some of these people that were, if there were people, these few tips that were related to Brad Holder, they would have, theoretically, gone into the interview room, as well. Is that correct?
Likely, yes.
And those would be lost?
Yes.
And because there's no log, you don't know who was interviewed or who was even interviewing, right?
Correct.
You should have a log, Would you agree?
Hindsight's 20/20ths.
And the state was talking about, well, if they go, they were trained to look for specific information like alibis and then follow up on the alibis, right?
Yes.
So that's kind of a no-brainer, alibis. But would you agree with me that, early on in the investigation, you don't know what's relevant or important related to things that could be found in the future?
True.
So it's nice that you can do an alibi. But what happens if a single sentence, would you agree that a single sentence in an interview, taken in context with evidence in the future, might make a big difference in the case?
Objection. Speculation.
I'm asking him as an investigator.
Sustained.
And you talked and referenced one of the state's exhibits regarding, I think I have it here, the Unclassified Federal Bureau of Investigation 413.17 follow-up on Brad Holder's alibi. Right?
Yes.
And that's entered into evidence. Here, I'll hand you this. I don't know what exhibit that is.
Thank you.
I believe it's 5.
Exhibit 5. It says, the Human Resources Director, Susan Case, said that the security camera at the scales may have picked up his vehicle. The video may have picked up the vehicle coming and going on that date. Right? That's what it says?
Yes. Clear's throat, excuse me. Yes.
Did you get the video of this, from the Human Resources Director? Is that a part of the discovery that we all have?
No.
Shoulda had that, right?
I didn't have it.
All that they had really was somebody. The Human Resources Director said that somebody clocked in with Brad Holder, saying they were Brad Holder. Right? That's all they said? Go ahead and read it.
I suppose they would have to work his with entire shift, running his machine, as well.
Did somebody go? Is it your understanding that somebody went and talked to Bradley Holder's coworkers that day to say, hey, was Bradley Holder working beside you?
Objection. It's irrelevant.
Sussed.
I'll move on. I'm almost done. Did you check to see if Brad Holder switched vehicles with his oldest son that day? Has that been?
Again, objection.
I'll move on.
This officer did not complete the follow-up investigation.
Sustained.
Would you agree with me that if an officer failed to prepare his report before the video was erased, and he was gonna use the video to help supplement, as he wrote, that there may not even be a memorialized copy? Could that be a possibility?
It would be difficult to, if you're going to use that process, because the video was gone. However, I should say that it was a practice for a lot of officers to request the video be retrieved from the DVR before the erasal occurred.
Okay. So that was common. Officers would come in and say, hey, I want to do a report. Can I see the video?
Yes.
Because there's things on a video that can be important to an officer. Gosh, I just found out this one thing over here. Let me see what was important over there on the video. Right? That's maybe why they want to do that, right?
It's possible.
Yeah. You said that Brad Holder was never. Has he ever been a key suspect to this day in this case?
He was at work.
He was at work. So therefore, he has never been a key suspect, no matter what any other evidence that exists out there. He was at work?
That's what the report says.
Patrick Westfall the same?
His interview would be contained in the report that Agent Pohl did.
Judge, I would object to the question anyway. We're here on a motion to dismiss for destruction of exculpatory evidence or potentially useful, and that was.
No more questions.
Specific to Brad Holder.
Sustained.
Sorry to interrupt. Sorry, Judge. No more questions.
Any redirect, Ms. Diener?
Yes. Investigator Mullen, you prepared 2 documents that have been marked by defense as Exhibit E and F, which are the letters regarding the 2 different issues with DVR recordings. They do not contain dates, but they do have information at the top referencing Delphi case number and multiple others. Do you have those exhibits in front of you?
I do.
And so at the top, can you explain what's under Investigative Report for the court?
It is titled Delphi Police Department Investigative Report, and it shows the Delphi Police Department case number that we did for an assist in this investigation, and the Carroll County Sheriff's Department case number for the double homicide, and the State Police's case number, and the FBI number associated with their case reporting system.
So when this discovery was made and you documented this information, did you share it with other law enforcement?
I did.
And can you tell from your memory or from these letters who you shared it with?
I certainly advised First Sergeant Holliman immediately and Detective Liggett and Detective Kevin Hammond of the unfortunate events with the DVRs.
Okay. And they were part of Unified Command?
Yes.
And so they could then pass that along to anyone that did an interview?
That is true.
And you indicated that you gave information to an agent of defense counsel that certain data was missing when discovery was turned over. Could you expand on that? How did you identify that, and to whom would you have been speaking?
An agent of Mr. Rozzi's office, and again, this is my memory, I didn't document it anywhere.
Did you mark the hard drives?
Most recent, yes, I did. The most recent after they had been placed back on the case again. I marked them, each one as having no sound or no video.
Or no video. So when they got discovery back, after being removed and put back on the case, and you were giving them discovery in January and thereafter, you marked the DVRs that had no video and no sound?
Yes, I did.
And when you say an agent of Mr. Rozzi's office, are we talking about Sarah Luxembourg?
Yes.
And isn't it true that she picked up the evidence almost every single time?
Yes.
Okay. Did you feel you had a rapport with her where you could share that with her and it would get passed along to defense counsel?
Yes.
Okay. No other questions.
Mr. Baldwin.
There was lots of video that had blank on it, right? That you gave Sarah. Could you have been talking about that, where you open it up and there's nothing on there?
I'm not sure how they appeared on the DVD, or the hard drive, excuse me. I believe only the videos that were left on the hard drive would actually appear, so you wouldn't be able to pull up something that was just blank.
I'm talking about empty files that were provided to us. There were things that you told Sarah Luxembourg, hey, you're gonna open up some things and there are empty files in there, isn't that right?
Perhaps at the first, because we had, and each one of those showed in progress as we were putting more information into them. That might be in December of 22.
But we didn't know about the April 28th through the June 30th, those 2 time frames of missing video, until just in the last 2 weeks. You didn't tell Sarah Luxembourg about that, did you?
I'm sorry, Mr. Baldwin, I didn't hear all of your question.
You know what, it's late, I'm gonna shut up. No more questions.
Anything else, Ms. Diener?
No. The state of Indiana rests.
You may step down, sir.
Thank you.
No other witnesses.
You may step down, yeah. Do you wish to admit E and F? They have not been offered or admitted.
I do. I'm sorry, Judge, I do wish to admit E and F. Defendant's exhibits E and F offered.
Any objection?
No. Defendant's exhibits E and F admitted.
Thank you.
Does the defendant have any additional evidence?
We don't, Judge. Thank you.
You wish to make any closing statements?
I'll waive, Judge.
Ms. Diener.
Judge, I believe that our response, filed with the court on February 22nd, properly summarizes the issues and the case law, so I will waive.
All right. I will take the matter under advisement with all of the respective exhibits that have been admitted. And before you all leave, you have respectively filed, the state filed a motion for leave of court to subpoena third-party records to the Department of Correction. I've received no objection or motions to quash from the defense. The defense filed a notice of discovery, indicating that Mr. Allen's medical records, Part 1 and 2, had been provided to the state, So does that take care of your request for the medical records?
Judge, no, because I think defense and I had a conversation. We're concerned that the records that were provided to the defense may not be a complete set of records from the DOC. I found it necessary that we want the complete set of medical and mental health records to address those issues at trial, and so that is the reason we subpoenaed the DOC, to make sure we get the complete record from DOC.
Okay. And the defendant filed a motion to compel and request for sanctions, that needs to be set for hearing.
Judge, I amended that because, after I filed it, I found an email from a few days before where Mr. McClelland had responded, and therefore I would move to, I would ask the court to focus on the motion to amend, because in that motion to amend, I explained that, and then I focused on the things that weren't satisfactorily explained or provided.
So you want me to just rule on the amended pleading?
Correct, not on the first motion to compel.
And the state, you filed your response to the original pleading March 18th, so if you want to supplement, you need to do that quickly.
Will do, Judge.
And then, you also filed your third Frank's notice and request for a Frank's hearing. I'll have to review that and issue an order. Is there anything else, before we go? Then I will grant the state's motion for leave of court to subpoena third-party records to the Department of Correction, both of the ones that have been filed.
Judge, I'm sorry, may I, Judge?
Yes.
I'd like to speak on that issue, if that's okay.
Sure.
Actually, I'm opposed to the court granting that at this point. We're still within the 15-day notice period, and what's going on here is that I made a new request on the Department of Corrections after we were reinstated in this case, and they had just provided that to me, and there's nothing untimely about any of this, but it just happened I want to say it was last week. Ms. Gallagher from the DOC has been working with me to try to get that information, and so and when I received it, we were having difficulty, essentially, recovering that from their software program, which has been one of the challenges that we faced. You get discovery from one entity, and it comes through Dropbox, and you get it from another entity, and it comes through a Google account, and you get it from another entity, and they've got their own software program, and so my staff member, up until I think this past Friday, was working with the DOC rep, Ms. Bedwell, to try and get that information converted into a format that we could read. And I do believe Mr. McClelland's correct, that I do think that there was information available to me that the DOC had about Mr. Allen, medical and psychiatric, when I made the first request that I didn't get, because now that I have kind of a refresh request, I'm seeing additional stuff. So this is a long way of saying I would like a chance to review what I just received before I just agree to disclose it, cause I don't know what it is, and it's quite voluminous, as you might imagine with medical records. I know one of the files I think that I shared with Mr. McClelland was like 900 pages, so I mean, in fairness, there were some blank pages mixed in there, but my request is the court allow me the 15 days or whatever time period is left to file my motion to quash. I really do believe that's probably not gonna happen, because I'm trying to be transparent with Mr. McClelland. I already showed him the first 2 dumps I got, so I'd like some time to look at that before
The 15 days is up March 29th, so it needs to be filed on or before that date.
Very good. Thank you.
Okay. Anything else from the state on anything that we've covered yet today?
No, Your Honor. I think that covers it.
Anything else from the defense?
No, ma'am.
Thank you.
Thank you very much. We are completed. Jody, you can go off the record. Thank you very much. This concludes the proceedings at hearing on motion to dismiss conducted March 18, 2024, in this cause. State of Indiana, in the Carroll Circuit Court.